Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing. Your girl is a dot, she all on my groin. She blowing my horn, we fuck like porn. These rappers is whack, they lyrics is corn. I'm getting this money, they never get born. I'm loading my strap, they calling the law. Fuck around and get clapped for running your jaw. If it ain't about the dollars, then it don't make sense. Got me sipping brown water, but it ain't from Flint. Trying to chase all this bread, though the shit won't last. About to shut the city down like a crypto crash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin.
Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, streaming from the D, knowing what to show. Indicators are wrong point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I'm Rucker, Jerry, and just bloods do. Bad motherfucker in a good way, boo. Got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Get that money, gotta keep it creep. That's my crypto blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm looking for a new move. I know the culture of the markets like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place, you know.
Yo, it's NYBZ on the mic, coming through the mist, talking crypto and privacy things you can't dismiss.
So I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Okay. Ready?
Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. Okay.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing it live. It's your boy Crypto Blue. Round of applause, round of applause. We got a special guest on today. Looking forward to this one, man. You're talking about some elite trading type of situations. We got one today. But before we get into that, we got to see who's in the chat room. We got, of course, House of Trades, Bloodalytics member. What's going on, my guy? Jess C. Williams in the house. I wish I had the real names, not the handles or whatever, the @ on YouTube. Pool Man. He said Magic in the house. That's right. Magic is going to be in the house. Hyman is in the house. Crypto Yo talking about Anton Daniels. What's going on with him? I don't know. Yeah, we got Chris from WeX in the building too. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Shout out to WeX. But a matter of fact, they have an AI Wars thing going on. I've been checking out. That's pretty interesting. Go check it out. I got a tweet I put out yesterday about that. Pretty darn interesting. We have to ask Magic if AI is going to replace us traders. I doubt it. It's a zero-sum game. Like, I think this is one of the last things you can do. People are going to either trade or gamble. If you don't know how to trade, then you're gambling. So you're gonna have a whole bunch of gamblers and a few traders. Meat rising in meat is rising. Jeez Louise. Okay, TRD Farmer, what's going on, bro? Thank you, man. I hate that I don't see the actual names anymore. AZTV is in the house. Good morning to you. Corey Holcomb and Anton got into it. Wow, gotta go check that out. Man, what a freaking week, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, already, let's see if I can get the share screen up because I have to do it a different way with the guests. Already, we're going crazy, ladies and gents. We're going crazy. I mean, look at this right here. $91 on silver. Now there's an issue. And I'm gonna go over it today. There's an issue with this silver here thing, buddy. I'm starting to think the SD bullions, the JM bullions, and all these bullion places where we get our silver. I have not gotten any word back from mine. It's supposed to be, getting the ship out date or something. Not getting anything. I'm starting to see a lot of complaints across the internet about these bullion places not actually sending out the bullion. I don't think they have it. So I'm thinking, bro, it is going to be silver could literally go to $500, $600 this year. I'm not even going. There you go, crypto yo, $300 silver. Seriously, because you can't get your hands on it. It can go higher than that. They may like literally refund all of our money and tell us to reorder at higher prices. I don't know, but I'm seeing people that have ordered back in December still haven't gotten it. I wish I would have seen these these reviews beforehand. Ordered in December, mid-December, still haven't gotten their order. I don't know, man. I think we got a real serious problem on our hands, and silver is going to go crazy. They ain't got it. Last pieces, you're right, bro. They don't have the silver. Like this is crazy. But today we're going to talk about silver. This is going to be a real technical stream, so lock in. Of course, we got Bloodalytics on deck. Make sure you guys go check out Bloodalytics.com. Link is in the description below. Scalpalytics Pro. Someone asked me the other day, do I have anything from other markets? We do have the silver parameter pack, but you got to become a member first. So you got to subscribe first to one of these, and then you can get the parameter packs, and it's basically like an add-on. Yeah, man. Silver's going crazy. The algo's going crazy on silver. We looking good. I mean, we went long on silver back on this Monday, the 12th, and we've been just nibbling off of those dips. Just been nibbling off of them. Chikizi says, but what's the point of it going so high if you can't get your silver to take profit unless you already have? Exactly. There is no point. You're right. So we're going to see, and then we're going to get into this. We're going to see, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, here, and maybe you're hearing it first, but I think you're going to see astronomical numbers where it really doesn't even matter that it's $500, $600 an ounce because nobody has the coins to sell them at that price. So it's just like, I don't know, man. We're in some very precarious times. How much? I bought another 100 ounces. About 100 ounces. Couldn't get full 100 ounces because of the type of coin I was trying to buy. The rounds I was trying to buy, man. Hilarious. Honestly, they gonna let crypto pump to take the attention off of silver, bro. Interesting. You might be right there. You might be right. Never thought about that. But without further ado, we got to get Size Matters in the building. Mr. Magic Internet Money himself. Go follow him right now at Magic Internet M1 on X. He has a YouTube channel as well. We'll let him tell it all. But glad to have him on. I actually met him when I was doing the Around the Blockchain days over on Discover Crypto. And the guy is phenomenal. So without further ado, let's bring in Internet Money.
What's going on, man? It's been too long.
It's been very, very long, man. What happened to Around the Blockchain?
I don't know. They like split ways and went a different, it is what it is. So, but I still talk to both of them. They're good dudes.
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to meet a lot of people.
Yeah, same here. So what's going on, man? Tell us about these markets. Tell us about how you feel about them. I know you're going to look at some technicals here, but kind of give us kind of an overview first of how you feel about the markets and where we are, silver, gold, crypto.
So in
Jerome
terms of
Powell.
Bitcoin, Jerome Powell. Well, no one's happy with Jerome outside of Jerome right now, apparently. But that said, with Bitcoin, to me, this is a mean reversion trade. It's something that was expected. We had the stats on it of being by January 20th of being about 83% that it was going to hit 98K. So we're getting close. We're almost there. Silver and gold, I'm going to probably play, devil's advocate and oppose your viewpoint in terms of that, which is fine, but it's all based on technicals. It's not based on anything else but the charts. So people can do whatever they want with that. You know how I roll in that department. And we're really going to find out, I think, if Bitcoin is in a bear market or not here soon. We're at that inflection point, I think. So to me, that's really important. And then the only other thing I'll touch on is gold and Bitcoin ratios. I do think that in the next quarter, you'll probably see that rotation happen where gold peaks against Bitcoin and Bitcoin will outperform gold going forward for the extended future. And then that cycle just repeats over and over. But I can show you why I think that, obviously, on the charts. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's where I'm at on markets. Same with S&P. I've had a target on the S&P for a top coming into 2026 for a while now. We've met it. We've got a good rejection. We'll see what happens going in the future. Because if Bitcoin is peaked, the S&P 500 generally doesn't peak until at least 40 days later, historically. So it's always a lagging indicator. Yeah,
Bitcoin has always been a leading indicator to equities, right? It's kind of like that liquidity monitor or gauge for equities. So yeah, I can see that being the case. Now we'll get into the silver thing because I definitely, well, I guess first let me ask you, how do you feel about at this point it's not aging all that well? Let's get you on the screen. How do you feel about Gareth Soloway? I've been hearing he's been talking about silver's not going to hit 100. Is silver going to hit 100? I mean, that's a pretty. I'm giving you a layup here on this one. I mean, we're so close. We know we're going to hit 100.
I think with targets like that, you have to kind of play it as a zone. Even if it hit,
it's a psychological whole number though. So we could get fooled and get 99.9 and then turn around.
That's often what happens. You get something like a front run, or you get an overshoot. And I've kind of got scenarios for both. But I think $100 is kind of the measured move of that cup and handle that's on the chart, and we'll talk about it, is 95. So to say that it can't go to 100 is a little, it's a little sus. Like, why wouldn't it? I agree with you. Why wouldn't you touch 100 at that point? But there is some overshoot potentially to 118 to 124 in my plan. So it is one of those things where trying to call the exact top is, even though I catch myself saying, this is where I think the top will be, you still have to kind of give yourself a little bit of room to be like, all right, well, I don't have to be exactly right. That doesn't happen as often as people think. But for me, it's just about having a plan to take profits. Because if you're getting paid in this market, the key is, buy low, sell high. No one's going to fault you if you were buying silver when it was, $20 an ounce or $30 an ounce and you sell at 95. No one's going to be like, oh, that guy's an idiot. Unless it goes like Bitcoin retarded in early days and it does go to $500 an ounce. Then people will say, well, you done goofed. But those are outlier situations, in my opinion. So
Gotcha. Mustafa says here, way past $100. I mean, hey, I personally think so, just because of I'm seeing it firsthand. Like, people are not getting delivery of their physical coins, bro. Like, I don't think they have it. I don't think these bullion banks or whatever you want to call them have these physical bars. And so the price may go to $200-300, but it's irrelevant because nobody can sell it because they don't have. None of us have our coins or our bars. Army Piper says, "Yep, silver overshoots quite often. 125 is highly likely if it breaks 100 and holds." Let's bring up your charts and get into the weeds on today's episode. Hit that like button, guys, and again, make sure you go follow Magic Internet Money at Magic Internet M1 on X. So let's bring this up really quickly. See what we got.
So I got a really simple chart. I like to keep it simple these days. Silver, this was kind of my target zone going into things. I sat down with my dad, who's been hodling silver for God knows how long, since I graduated high school. For
Nice.
reference, I am 37, so I do own silver. I'm not going to sell any of it because I feel like I'm young enough that I'll watch this cycle go, and
Right.
I just want to pass it to my kids or something. It's not a necessity. So I've been
Right.
buying silver since he basically told me to. Same with gold. So it is one of those things where I'm in the market, so my position is on the long side. But historically, if I was trading this to me is a big zone. And again, there could be some overshoot, of course, but you have this big cup and handle right here. We can all kind of see where it is. If you were to take the Bolkowski traditional measurement of this, it's an ABC type of scenario where he's basically saying that, where's my polyline tool? Right there. I'm gonna get rid of the magnet. This is A, B, and C. And how you would measure this is you're just measuring the bottom to the top, but you're not extending from here, which you would traditionally do with like a fib extension tool where you would drag this point C down to the low. You're actually measuring off of point B at the breakout, which I think we're all familiar with. And looking at it, it puts you at $95. Now, that's not the entire reason why I think that this zone is problematic. There was the largest sell-off in history recently in terms of a one-day negative closure on silver. And historically, we've only seen that 5 or 6 times. And if you were to fast forward 1 month or even a year later, a majority of the prices are actually negative. So for me, that was a big telling indicator that, okay, this, it may still go higher, which we're expecting that. But is it really worth it to chase it higher? For me, knowing that historically, once you see that type of a signal, the top is usually in, and 1 year later, it's always negative, and not negative by a little bit. We're talking negative on an average of like 28%. So from the time of that signal, which is a big deal. So it puts you at 95. Historically as well, if you go back to silver's chart and you look at things in terms of when it started, the all-time low to this massive run that came in like the 80s. This is 28 cents all the way up to $48. Even though that's, chump change, because we all saw Bitcoin go from 28 cents to, $20,000 or whatever. This is a really big market cap. This is a huge worldwide asset. So to me, that's pretty substantial. And it took the most amount of time. So I would definitely utilize this in terms of logarithmic expansion, just based on percentages. So all you're doing is you're expanding the ratio from the low to this high, and then you're taking it off of a new low that was there. So opposite of what we did with the cup and handle. When you do that, you get some pretty interesting, targets. It usually comes in somewhere in this one. That's the wrong, where's my, I grouped it. There we go. It'll give you a nice gold pocket here. And this is actually the exact same way you can pull and call the Bitcoin top the last 3 cycles, looking for a golden ratio expansion in logarithmic scale. So you're measuring based on percentage, not linear one-to-one moves like you are with a pattern, so to speak. So we're just looking to say, if this were to, do a similar move in expansion, what does it look like to go to 61.8% of that initial expansion? It puts you right here between $83 and $97, hence why you start to see this box fill out a little bit. And then I just start doing negative expansions from lows at $346 up to the $49 high. We're looking at the one-to-one, and in terms of a fib expansion, it's putting you at $96.20. There's just a lot of convergence in this area for me to say that this could be, based on the measurement of the pattern, based on historical ratios in terms of percentage expansion. We can't really, if you were to expect the same expansion that you got from that 28-cent low to this high, in logarithmic scale, percentage-wise, it's really putting you at like numbers kind of like you were talking about, $500 an ounce, right? Like, to me, those are outlier targets that I shouldn't really count on. I should never be making that my entire base case for investing unless I'm going to hold for infinite amount of time. So this makes the most sense to me to start scaling out if I was a longer, I would say longer term, a medium term trader, saying, okay, it makes sense to take some profits here, scale out every so often, whether it's $3 or $5, whatever you've got in there. And then, put that money to the side and do something with it when it makes sense. You don't have to sell everything. I was really trying to hammer that home to my dad. I was like, you don't have to sell everything, man. I just need you to sell something. Take some profits because you've been holding this so long. And he's like, well, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm like, Dad, you're 70. Like, I'm not trying to be rude.
Shout out to Papa Magic.
Yeah, it's like, you're 70, bro. Like, I mean, I get it, but
that's the thing, bro. That's what I don't understand. You have to have not talking about your father. I'm just talking about, I hear people all the time saying, unless the goal is to just buy all of it, accumulate as much as you can, and then pass it on to the next generation. Okay, that's different. But like you have to have some targets for locking in profits, I believe, on everything. Because if you don't have a goal, you don't have a target, Magic, then you fail to do anything.
Yeah, and for him, it is part of his retirement, you know, because he started doing this in like 2000. Fuck, it was like 2005 maybe. He started getting into gold when it was, you know, $300-400 an ounce, and matching what he was putting away in his stock portfolios and stuff, and you know, going that route. So to me, I look at it as, you know, you were counting on this to retire with, and I'm not saying you need it right now, but if you are going to enjoy that, you know, now is the time. You know, what better time to sell than at all-time highs? You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. Not many people get to say they did. So that's kind of my thesis on silver. Can it go higher? Absolutely. I'm expecting it to hit those targets like we talked about, $95, $100. If there's some overshoot, I am looking towards like, you know, 120 in that region. So, but if it goes to $200, $300, $400 an ounce, I'm not going to be mad. Like I hope you guys get that, and if you guys are still in it, I hope you make a bunch of money. You know, that's how I look at it. Because I would never not want someone.
Crypto Twitter is going in on this thesis of a potential rotation out of silver back into crypto. How do you feel about this thesis that's been running on Twitter, on CT Crypto Twitter?
I'm not really sure how I feel about the silver rotation. I don't track the silver versus Bitcoin pairing, to be quite upfront with you. I do track the gold versus Bitcoin, and I can show you that one. And there is a setup brewing for that one, assuming this chart can be traded. I think it's in this one, or is it in my EDU? Hang on. I've got too many charts and too many layouts at this point. I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but
yeah, for sure. I got a whole bunch of charts, but mine are for like back testing. I have like a separate chart for each back test and a different time frame and all that.
I did that way too late. I did that way too late in the process. I have that, but it's tough to migrate everything over at this point. But so this is gold versus Bitcoin here, and you can see gold historically is not performing all that great versus Bitcoin. But historically as well, it does find a bottom and rally against Bitcoin. So we know that's a thing. And it almost always hits that golden ratio, which is the 382. And everybody knows the 618, but the 618 is just the reciprocal or the inverse of the 382. So you have, this is your golden mean ratio, your first one at the 38.2%. This is the top. Okay. So again, we fast forward to the next time gold rallied. It actually couldn't even meet the 382 off the low. And then again, right here, we are now coming into contact with it. Here we are. We're back at the exact same scenario. We're at the 382 almost. And we kind of have to see what's going to happen from here, because you know me, I like my harmonics and things like that. Where did that picture go? I put it on the screen and I
just saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you have here is you have a crab basically, or a deep crab. In this case, what you guys can do is go to Scott Carney's website, harmonictrader.com, if you're more curious about it. But just to kind of summarize what these patterns do is they take combinations of Fibonacci ratios, and then they back tested them with an algorithm to see which ones create the best reactions and can it be quantified. And so he's done that, and he's found several of them that he goes over in his books. And this is one of the ones here. And this is a pretty aggressive one. Generally, you find these at the top of rallies because you get such crazy extensions. And so what I mean by that is you'll see that this has the 1618 and this is the 2618, meaning that from B down to C, you get a 261.8% expansion. From X, the top of the starting of the pattern, to the low of the pattern, you get 161.8%. So you're meshing up two pretty big ratios. And I just kind of noted that there's a yearly high here on the yearly chart. So you're seeing gold within the time frame that it would normally take these expansions to take place, entering the zone that historically does reject at. So for me, I am looking at gold as coming into probably some kind of a top here in the first quarter or maybe first half of the year. That would be somewhere between now and it looks like middle of April, according to this. So the gold chart is also very close to my macro targets. I have macro targets on that one. They haven't quite been met, but they're getting there. It's close enough for me we're splitting hairs over whether it's going to hit or not. Kind of like we talked about $100 on silver. But yeah, so that's kind of how I'm seeing the gold Bitcoin ratio, is that, you know, if I'm a gold bug, I'm either looking for a change of behavior, you know, on the macro, something that it hasn't done in the last 12 or 13 years, and break through here and start an uptrend against Bitcoin long term, or I'm looking to at least lock in some profits and protect my investment a little bit and maybe rotate that capital into other assets when it makes sense.
Here's my pushback on, like, I'm not saying you're like, I mean, you're calling areas of tops or regions for tops for precious metals, but I hate to say this. Is this
Go
time
ahead.
different? Is this time different? Because
We never know. We won't know till we know, man.
we won't know until we know. The reason I say that is because we have China, January 1st, silver export restrictions. You've got all these geopolitical issues going on. They just shipped a $2 billion worth of silver out of Venezuela before we went in, kidnapped the president and his wife. Like, I feel like these factors should weigh a lot more on silver and gold than the technicals this time around.
You know me, I'm a strictly technical guy, and so for me, I'll never be able to do it. You know how I am, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. So I always say that. That's why I always say you don't need to be overexposed to any market, and you don't need to be underexposed. I always tell people you don't have to sell everything. Just make sure that you pay yourself, because if this time is not
Gotta
good,
pay yourself,
and
ladies and gentlemen.
and you get caught holding the bag, you're going to be kicking yourself for however long it takes for gold to have another bull run, which we know gold and silver
Oh my
generally.
God, you might be
It's
dead.
painful,
It might be your son's profiting
But-
from it.
And on the
Yeah.
fundamental side of things, like, and this is why I don't get into fundamentals, because there's infinite possibilities in terms of what ifs. Same with TA, but TA you can narrow it down to probabilities, which I like. But in terms of fundamentals, the reason I would kick back on something like, what if there is like an inter-country war where they're hoarding precious metals? What's it going to do to the price? Well, historically, we see when that happens, they make owning it illegal. They're going to take it from you, historically. You know what I mean? They did. They'll try to do it, and they're not going to let you sell it. So even when it's at those numbers, you're not going to be able to sell it anyway. Because
that's a very good point.
You know
I
what I
heard
mean?
that Trump didn't he say something about the mint silver? Not he's stopping. I have to find. Yeah, you're right, man. Though this go around, I'm not sure how successful they'll be with that one.
No. Yeah,
I think we have a lot more guns. I think we have a
thing.
lot more, you know, and it
Well,
definitely ain't
it's,
gonna happen with under Trump. It may be the next president. Yes, I can see that.
People organize easier now because of social media, things like that. Communication's better,
right.
so it's harder to make sweeping legislation like that just kind of go smoothly. But my point would be is if you can't sell it, you know, it's kind of like so. If they do get into some kind of a war where they're hoarding it, you know, China, if they say you can't own it, they're going to take it. You know, they're going to try to. You know what I mean? America, they're going to have some more issues because obviously, you know, armed to the teeth, a little bit different in terms of policy and, you know, freedom rights, things like that. But yeah, it becomes kind of one of those what ifs where there's infinite probabilities that you can only look at the fundamental cases that support your idea and what you want to happen, or you can look at all of it and say, okay, well, I can't control any of this. What I do know is that historically, I should be at least considering a take profit here to pay myself, to make sure that I'm good. Doesn't mean you got to sell everything, like I said. And if it's not a trade for you guys, you don't have to do anything with it. You can hold it long term. It doesn't bother me at all. But that's just how I see it. You know, I'm one of those very practical people.
Give me because this is, you know, we're talking about two different traders, or not traders, but buyers or sellers of.
Sure.
Let's specifically talk about precious metals, right? Like, what would be your target if you were a physical holder like your father? What's a target to actually literally go to the local dealer and sell some bullion? Like, are we talking on silver? Are we talking $100? Or, I mean, I guess it depends on your investment time horizon, right? Your dad got in so early, he can sell right now and be Gucci. He can start selling now. I mean,
I keep telling him that too.
He's pinching pennies. Yeah, he's pinching pennies at this point, waiting for a higher price.
Well, I love my dad, but he's into the Alex Jones network of things. And I'm not saying Alex Jones is crazy. I'm just saying like that he's got some outlandish ideas, and he goes,
Come on, hold on, Magic. You telling me the Bilderbergs,
yeah, and he's
the
not
reptilians,
my
the
dad,
humanoids?
my dad's one of the smartest people I know too, and I don't want, I'm not like bagging on him at all. Like, he really is.
I love Alex Jones.
And
I
not
don't watch
everything
him,
that
but I
Alex has
think
ever
he's-
said has been wrong. We should note that. Like, he's been right about
No,
some crazy things.
no.
Like, some things have come true.
Yes,
You know,
he
where we
has.
find out, oh, he was right about that. That's wild. You know, but we know how they clip things. But it is one of those things where, for me, again, looking at historical, you know, data on gold, and I'll pull my chart up if you want here.
Yep.
This is kind of my target. This has been my macro target for gold, is 48.21 up to about 48.18. Now, I would extend that a little bit because 54.24, you know, barely higher than 54.18. But the reason I do is when gold tops out, you can usually use the 200-week SMA and EMA and just do a multiplier on it. And anytime it gets to a valuation of over 2 above its average is generally a good time to start looking at, okay, this is way overpriced. And we're getting very close to that. As of this morning, I recalculated and wrote those numbers on there just for the show. If you look at the simple moving average on the weekly, the 200-week SMA times 2 is 49.38, and the 200-week EMA would be 54.24. Obviously, they're a little different there because of how they calculate. One's a little more aggressive, but it gives you a zone that, okay, once we're up in this region, like, we're well above the average, you know, the average price. So a mean reversion is likely to happen. And again, you don't have to do everything with this, but what I have done is, again, I worked out the fibs on this just like I did the last one. You know, I know that when we did shows together, I was always known as like the volume and the range guy. But before that, when I was doing YouTube back in 2019 and 20, before that channel got taken down, I was the fib guy. You know, that's how I traded.
How did your channel get taken down?
Dude, I got like some weird comments, and I split ways with a partner out of Australia, and then all of a sudden I got like flagged like thousands of times and on every video, and YouTube took it down because they flagged it for like harassment and bullying, which is like a very serious thing, I guess, for them. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever harassed or bullied anyone. I just autistically go over the charts, you know, it's what I do. And they took it down and said it would go to review, and it was during COVID, and they said they were understaffed, and they'd let me know it could be years later. I never heard anything. I put in like a, you know, one of those, I wouldn't call it a review, but I was like, you know, hey, I don't understand why this happened. And they don't actually tell you anything. They just kind of tell you, we'll look into it.
No.
Yeah. So I got taken down. I never really pursued it. I went to TikTok and did TikTok for 6 months after that.
I know you got booted off there.
No, I got like 50,000 subscribers in like 6 months on there, and then I just stopped because I was like, I realized that I was talking to, you know, peanut brain. No, it was the
it's the worst, bro. I'm not on TikTok.
It was back when
it's the worst thing for the people's brains.
It was back when 2021 was a thing, and like, you know, scam coins were getting launched left and right, you know, and they were really using platforms like TikTok to kind of promote those. And it was just so hard to gain traction on anything that was viable. And being a Bitcoin maxi that I am, man, I was getting, you know, the people were flagging my videos and stuff, and like just the hate comments, and like normally that stuff doesn't bother me, but I mean, we're talking like when I told the
I can't believe that was allowed on TikTok.
Man, it was a free for all. They just wanted market share back then. You know what I mean? Like they there was a lot that used to fly on TikTok before they got now, but because now kids are on it and stuff, so like, oh, oops, we kind of messed up and let like 10-year-olds on here. But you know, it was one of those things where like I told the XRP Army in 2021 when it peaked at 190, I said it's going to 29 cents. And I saved all the, dude, I had hundreds of hate comments, and it did go there. And
I can't stand XRP from an ethos standpoint.
But
not even technically, but
yeah. So anyway, back to fibs. You can see that I've got a bunch on the screen here, and I can, you know, get them all off here and show you that, you know, this is like the negative expansion from the year 2000 to 2011, you know, down in this region. And you're seeing them all kind of converge in one box, you know, to cut it short. Not only that, I am also a big proponent of pitchforks, which is a Fibonacci tool. I don't know how familiar with them you are.
I don't use it, but yeah, I've seen
it's essentially what I'm doing with it is I'm making a channel because I'm using what's called a modified shift version. So it's literally just a channel, but it's based on 3 points that you identify and use through a pitchfork. And when you do that, you're really needing to decide which price action is most important to you for expansion. And you can just see on the chart that this is your, just like silver,
that's a big one.
This is your longest history of consolidation. You have a huge run up, very short rundown, another one. So more like a 1, 2, 3 type thing. So for me, this is probably the most important set of price action. And so if you were just to set it up, you would look at it like this, and you would see that you are coming to the top of that pitchfork. And these are really well-respected levels. All I have on there is the .25, .75, and 50% mark in between. But you're just looking at this as it's claiming the 50%. I'm looking to go to the high of the fork, which is, again, in logarithmic terms, this is a percentage basis. So you're looking at a very large scale move here, and you've got math and fibs showing you that you're getting to that $5,000 zone. Could it go higher than this? Again, yeah, of course it can. But to me, it just makes the most sense to lock something in up here, because this is where I would expect there to be potential for that blow off. And I think if you don't see this as some type of a blow off move right here, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's straight up. And I know that this one was too, but man, you're looking at a very straight up vertical move on these. I don't get too much into oscillators, but I mean, these things are cooked. This is the highest monthly read of RSI of all time. You are well above that. You're in the T zone. You're well above valuations, 2 times the 200-week SMA and EMA. Well, you're not there yet, but you're getting there. So yeah, I am kind of cautious here. So if I was looking for a spot place to start selling gold, it's not as consequential as silver because the percentages are smaller. I would just find someone who's going to give you a fair shake and, you know, ladder out whatever you're comfortable with. Because
would you short at the top of that pitchfork?
There is a short setup for silver, but I wouldn't just short to short it. You'd have to wait. I don't have a short setup on gold. I'm more of a rotate into like Bitcoin type thing as a protective asset. I am short on Bitcoin. I should say that. Not from these local areas. I'm short from 119, 115, and 109. So I've got 4 positions running or 3 positions running on Bitcoin, looking for a 4th potentially. But that's neither here nor there. This is not something I would just get in front of and short, unless you spot something super obvious. I mean, maybe the real short trade is on silver if it occurs because of the drawdown. And I'm going to switch back to silver for that reason. But when you go to the yearly chart on silver, and this is why I said I expected to see higher prices over 2025, when you get a silver high, you almost always take the previous year high. Like the last 2 major ones, you can see you made that huge run. And it's always in December. December makes the high. Next year, you go above the high, come back below. So all you're doing is you're marking out the highs, and that will get you what you need to know. So if you just mark out the previous highs, that's what you need to do. And you say, okay, I'm not even trying to short it. Maybe I'm just looking for some kind of a weakness. It's below the previous year high in this case. You can mark these out and see that this would be the weakness. And this one's real obvious. You can see it's just constantly SFPing itself. So below 2025's high here on this breakout, and that's $83. I know we're at 91, but if this thing comes back below 83, you can start diving into the monthly chart and saying, okay, back below 83, where are we at? I'm looking for probably a new monthly low, or at least a back test the close of last month in the open. So that puts you in the 70s, and then you start saying this could confirm as a top if it lives below 83 long term. And that's where you can start looking at shorts. Same with here. It bounced around the region. Once it starts giving it up, gave you a really obvious descending triangle here. Like there's some obvious things. This one I don't think is as obvious because you have this big gap here. But once you do give up, that monthly candle, like you're going to fill this gap, which is the previous year high, and then it just nukes through it. So previous year high for me is very important on silver if I'm looking for a short trade.
So we're looking at like 40. What is that? 40 something?
On which year?
On the previous highs. Like what zone are you talking about a retracement to?
Well,
like 48 or something like
historically, this thing retraces a lot, like 80%. That's the problem. Jeez. You know what I mean? Historically, this is an 80%, retrace type of asset. It does. So I think that you would have to just kind of go to something as basic as fibs and go, okay, here's my cycle low, here's my cycle high. I think the lowest retrace was 82% over this one here. I want to say it was 82. Let's take a look. We can measure that really fast. So if you're going off of that, no, 76. So if you're going off of that, you could say maybe the .75 makes the most sense, something in that nature. And now you're looking at anything under 40 makes sense to me. Like you could just say, I'm going to start laddering in, but that's like doomsday. This thing is topped out. The cycle's over, and we repeat something like this. So if history does repeat itself, and you've scaled out and you start scaling out on the way down, you're looking back down towards, sub 40, and it's not the end of the world because it's nothing we haven't seen before, but.
And that's when you'll miraculously get your delivery from SD Bully.
That's what I was going to say. There's the fundamental side.
It'd be a short. It's essentially a short. They're short.
Yeah.
They're short.
They'll let you have it when it's done,
Yep.
That's how they do
That's
it. But,
crazy.
but
man.
yeah, so until you lose the 2025 high, again, like you're not just shorting this to short it because I put a box on the chart. I'm not that kind of a trader.
Right.
But it is one of those where you kind of have to start realizing, like, you have to have some level of consciousness about the chart and just say, okay, if this happens, like, that to me would not look good. My thesis might be invalidated. I should look and take protective measures, or just swallow the pill and say I'm going to hold it, and accept what the worst case scenario is. Because if you need that money, it's different. That's why you don't trade or invest with money you need.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button. We're getting a lot of alpha dropped here tonight, today, this morning, this afternoon, or wherever you are. I want to just, your technicals kind of line up with what Citigroup is saying on the gold target. They've got a $5,000 target for gold and $100 by March.
That doesn't make me feel good. Those guys are never right.
Uh-oh. Well, they said by March.
Yeah, true.
So I think we might hit it before March. So that's where they're probably wrong on the timing. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And I just want to get your feedback on and kind of what's your take on what's going on with Trump and the Federal Reserve, man? A subpoena on the chairman of the Fed.
I think
he had to put out an unprecedented message over the weekend. Looked like a kidnapping hostage video he put out over the weekend. What's your take on that whole situation?
If you want to know what I think, is I got the shirt on right now. Presidents are temporary, Wu-Tang forever. I didn't vote. I didn't vote for Biden either. That's why I wore it today.
That's dope. I like that one.
I was never like a huge fan of either administration. So it was one of those things where I think he's done some good things. I do, and I don't think you can ever say that administration only does bad things. When people do that, they really put themselves in a box.
Come on now, Biden did something good.
I'm sure we could find something somewhere.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I liked his administration more or anything like that. I'm not getting into it. I'm just saying I'm not happy with the candidates we've been getting between both parties for a long time.
I'm very disappointed in Trump this go around. Yeah,
he's done some things I really like. He's also done some things that I'm like, dude, what the heck, man? Like that, we didn't talk about that.
No, we didn't. we did not talk about that.
Yeah, but what I think he's doing with Powell and this, he's the type of president that, and I'm not gonna say he's like a mob boss style, but like he really wants to set a tone. And I think he knows he's not going to get anywhere with Powell in this lawsuit. I do. But I do think he knows that he's about to appoint someone. And that person that's going to be appointed is going to see what he's willing to do if you're not willing to play ball. So Trump doesn't have
an absolute puppet.
Yeah, Trump's setting the precedent that, hey, if you get in there and you do this type of thing against what I want and what I think is best for markets, you can expect this kind of resistance and this kind of investigation on everything you do from the federal government. And I got infinite time, well, not time, but money to do it. That's how he is. So that's what I would say is what he's doing. Because I don't think they're going to get anything out for this.
Okay. No, they're not. I don't think so either.
I think he's forward projecting, hey, I need someone that's going to be my guy. And I know he said it, but he's really saying, I don't just say it, I mean it,
Yeah. So to that point, come March, we'll probably get a new person in. He's going to be highly common.
May is when they're in, right? He'll appoint them, but May is when he'll be in there, right? I think is when.
Maybe, yeah. So he's going to be very accommodative. He's going to, like you said, the new person, the new Fed chair, very accommodative. Now, granted, I don't know how it works. Maybe you do.
He can't change the rates by himself. He's got to convince the other
right.
board.
Okay, that's what I'm. Okay, right. So he got the board.
He has quite a bit of pull, and he can kind of control the narrative too. You know what I mean? Like, so the Fed chair, you got to think that if the Fed chair is going to be speaking and saying things, markets react to everything he says. So even just setting expectations a certain way can sway board members saying, "Man, if we don't do this, markets are going to shit." Because the Fed chair said such and such. So that can sway an opinion. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that I think that it does matter who he gets in there. And it's really all he can control. So I think that's what he's going to try to do.
So with that being said, that means for sure we're looking at easier monetary policy
Sure.
We're looking at lower rates for sure. What does that do? I know you're not a fundamental guy, but like, bro, this is going to be highly advantageous for what? Equities, everything, every risk asset.
I mean, it's going to crush the dollar.
Correct.
Probably crush the dollar. But
Right.
it's one of those where I look at it from good.
Who performs the best out of this new Fed chair and potentially looser monetary policy? I mean, when I say that, what asset class? Crypto, stocks,
Stocks and crypto, probably. You know, I think historically that'd be where you want to be. In the stock market, it's like you can just look at the chart and go, man, I got to be in the stock market. That's why when I talk to crypto people, I'm like, dude, if you're not in stocks too, like, I get it. Like, be in Bitcoin, you know, maybe be in Ethereum. There's a couple of them you can make a case for here, but like realistically, long term, you know, you got to be in like an index or
stocks.
Kind of, you know, stocks
or index, right?
You know, whatever it is.
I do the Vanguard.
Yeah,
Vanguard.
Those are the blue
index,
chips, man, and they've got decades of history in most cases, which is more than we can say about anything in our space. That doesn't mean there won't be winners. Doesn't mean there won't be Googles that come out of this, things like that. It's just, you know, there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money in the .com boom for a reason. You know, everybody thinks they're a genius, but turns out, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's who will come out ahead of it. I just think that when that happens, if they lower rates straight away, in order to get that passed through the board, because, you know, it's got to be unanimous, I'm pretty sure, you're going to have to see some weakness in the market. And I think you will, because the Fed is a reactionary body anyway. And he's talking about not lowering rates or anything at all going into May now. They're saying that there's a pretty high chance that rates are stuck where they are until he's out. A lot of that has to do with...
for sure.
Well, you see what... Well, inflation is where he wanted it. Well, close to where he wanted to be. What are they saying? 2.7, I think, is what they're saying right now, or something like that. Somewhere in that ballpark, close to 2. And then the problem is unemployment is at 4, which sounds great, but most of the time, once it starts ticking up, you start hitting the high end of that, and you see a mini recession. So, you know, to me, it kind of just stands to make sense that, yeah, if he gets someone in, rates are going to get cut, but it's going to be on weakness. They're going to have a reason to cut those rates, and I think it'll be on some type of weakness. That doesn't mean like eternal bear market, guys. We're going to zero. We're not talking like Great Depression. But I do think that 2026 could be problematic. And so the biggest market that might be affected by rates is going to be houses. You know, that would be the largest one, is land, houses. That's the largest market in the world, obviously. And, you know, I got friends that, you know, they make $150,000, $200,000 a year, and they're holding off to buy houses. You know, they want to buy a house, but they're waiting, you know, and I'm just like, man, that's crazy.
Because your house is, your first house is $500,000, $600,000.
Out here, you can probably get a good one for like $300 or $400. But I live in Kansas. You know, it's like, it's different market.
Yeah, that's a different market.
but they're more interested in rates than they are the price of the house. You know, so there are people out here with money that are waiting to buy houses, but the only thing keeping them from doing it is the rates. And when those rates come down, it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts. You know, in that department. So,
well, it's gonna make prices go up.
Yeah, in theory, it prices more people out. You know,
that's the problem. Yeah, that's where I'm not like Trump, bro. Like, I understand what you're trying to do, but it's counterintuitive. You need to let the prices fall.
He is doing some good things. He's starting to say, okay, you know, I don't want corporations buying homes, things like that. But he's also making it so that, you know, he's starting to look into more programs that would benefit first-time and target first-time buyers, making it better for them, more advantageous, things like that. And I don't know how much of that's going to get through or what he's really going to decide on, but that is a pretty heavy conversation in the housing market right now, which I would support. So
here's my issue with, in principle, on paper, that I love it. Like, yeah, get BlackRock or Blackstone or whatever companies buying up these homes, get them out, right? The issue is now you're starting to like intervene in markets, and that's a little weird, bro. That's a little weird.
And I'm, you know, I started the libertarian group on campus when I was in college. I was a political science major, and going there for international business and economics is what I ended up believing in. And I'm kind of like you. I'm not an interventionist. I don't like it, but I think we're at a point where these companies have so much sway and they're not just like, oh, we can do this because we have money. They got politicians in their pocket. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know, you know. So I think at some point you have to step in and say, hey, man, like, we know your guys' policy is profits, profits, profits. That's your number one thing, but we can't just let you guys do all this. You know, we're to the point now where people can't afford to live. So it is what it is. You got to step in somewhere, because if you don't, you know, they'll put us in shacks. Those companies, they don't care.
No.
No, they don't
really
care
don't.
at all, man. We'd end up just as bad as some of these.
And then, you know, another thing, you know, I'm kind of I love the effort. I do. I love the effort from Trump. But again, like a couple things, like you said earlier, hey, we didn't talk about this, brother. We did not talk about this. However, the credit card,
that's great.
Rates,
fantastic.
It is great. It is great. But do you think that's going to come back and bite him? Meaning, a lot of credit card companies are going to drop people.
I mean, they could. You know,
which is good. I mean, you don't need credit.
People don't need
have
credit. I'll be honest with you. I've seen some people. They don't need credit cards. But it is one of those things where, there's going to be some blowback on it. Just like when they tightened the metrics for, you know, getting a home loan back after 2008. They were like, oh, well, now people aren't going to be able to get homes. I mean, there was a crash, but like, it was for the better.
Everybody shouldn't have a home.
No, you can't just be giving it out to people for anything. So it was one of those things where, I think there will be blowback. Another thing he is doing, though, that's good is I like his stance on taxes. You know, he seems to be very motivated.
With
not just that. Like he's talking about getting rid of the estate tax, and you know, a lot of this, in my opinion, and you know, only my opinion, is because he's getting close to end of life, and he's got quite a bit of assets that when he passes down, to his children, whether it's real estate or not, depending on how it's structured, it's going to be very subject to tax.
Right.
You know, the government's itching for that man to die for more than one reason. You know, it's not just because they don't like his policies; it's because they want that estate tax check. You know, and I'm sure there's a way to get around it. He's probably trying to, but he's talking about getting rid of that. And so I think a lot of the stuff he's doing, you know, because if we pass away and we leave our kids something, like, why is the government getting, you know, half of that? It don't make sense. And if you don't pay it to them, they just take the asset and they auction it off. You know, and then you don't got it at all. And like, what are you supposed to do then? So there's some things that he is doing that will benefit people more medium and long term, and we won't see that ramifications until, you know, later on. But it's like I said, it's not all bad, not all good with some people, but he's got some areas that I'm, you know, keen to say, okay, he's doing stuff that I like. It's just a matter of, will it stick? Because once he's out, or once, you know, Congress flips or whatever, you know,
midterms, man, like, it's not looking good for him.
No, that's why he's talking about stimulus checks. You know, he's gonna try to put that out for midterms. I mean,
I don't know if it's gonna work though.
He's pretty divisive. That's the thing. That's one reason why I said I didn't want to vote for him this time around. Is like, we saw what he was the first time, and I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying he was so divisive for the country. The country has never been more divided when he's in office. Is the problem? Even if he gets the votes, when you look at the, you know, things. But then there's the theories of, are people being paid? You know, is this just paid opposition? You know, things like that. But that's a rabbit hole that you can go down. That isn't going to
provable.
Even if it is provable, it'll never be truly proved to everyone. Everyone's going to see things. It's just like that video that just happened with that woman in Minnesota. People watched the same video and got completely different ideas. You know, they're completely opposed to each other. Like, she didn't hit him. She did hit him. Blah blah blah. You know, it's like I said. It all depends on where they're at on the spectrum. Their mind was made up before they saw anything. It's the same with anything he does now. So, it is one of those things where, that's why I'm kind of like, he's doing some good things. I hope he continues to, you know, layer in some good things, but how much of it's going to stick? Because they're going to try to undo a lot of it, you know, just like he tried to do. Yeah.
Right. For the good or worse. Yeah, he did the same thing, and they're going to go back and do the same thing for us. Well, man, it's been great, man. I appreciate you coming on, Magic Internet Money. Round of applause for TA. The alpha he dropped for us today was phenomenal. Make sure you guys go follow my guy over on X. Do you have are you still, I didn't see any videos on your channel as of late.
I don't do a ton of like public stuff. I do a lot of like just in the group, like once or twice a week. I try to go live or do something, do a quick breakdown. But I go on Sin City every Tuesday. That's it. I don't make public content like I used to. I got burnt out on it for a while, you know, and so I need to get back into it.
I didn't even know you were going on. I didn't even know you were on Sin City every Tuesday.
I go. I've been on there for 18 months in a row. Yeah, every Tuesday. I'm their regular Tuesday guy. They watch me call the bottom of the market. They watch me the top. I called the top on Bitcoin this year, if it is the top. Like, they got to be a part of that, which took a year, but it was a year of me saying, you know, I'm not buying up here. I think it's a time to be short. And it is what it is. So
nice. Well, how can people join your group? What tell us about that?
There's a link on my page, I assume, to Discord. I assume it's there. I don't remember if it is or not. But yeah, hop in. There's a public section. You don't have to like pay to join and then, you know, not be able to access it. If you ask me a question in the public areas, I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna do things like that. There is a paid section, but it's just people that want to learn how to like do TA, learn how to chart, learn how to trade. We run through strategies, back testing, a lot of stuff that you probably do, except mine's not automated, so it's a lot more labor intensive. So gotcha. I don't have that lovely automation, which I need to work on it. But we have some indicators and stuff that we work off of, but it's not like automated back testing. I've been trying to figure that out. The automated back testing is tricky.
So I built a Python suite of Python scripts that allows me to scrape the data from TradingView, and I store it in JSON files, and then I can go back and actually like back test the JSON file data.
See, this is why I should have learned how to code instead of learned about politics when I was in college.
There you go. Hey, but now, hey, I'm a coder. I went to school for computer science. Now my skill set is obsolete, bro. So hey, we're both in the same.
Is AI taking that away?
Oh man, yeah, it's bad, bro. It's bad.
I've thought about looking into it to see what AI can do on that, but I still feel like even to use AI for coding, you still got to kind of understand coding, you know?
It's getting to the point where they call it vibe coding. Shout out to Hotep Jesus. I had no clue what the hell a vibe coder was, but the vibe coding, man, it's getting.
We got a guy in our group who talks about it all the time. I don't know what he's talking about half the time. I just kind of let him battle on about it. Him and a couple other guys, you know, so they're probably be more interested in that than not. So if you guys are watching, you know, check those guys out. They're probably more into that than I am, because I'm old school. You know how I roll.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it, Magic, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Go follow him. I have a link in the description of this video for Magic. We'll definitely have him back on soon. Man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Magic.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, bro. All right, guys. That's pretty much it, man. That was a great session. That guy, man, is so advanced in his technicals. It's amazing. It's amazing. So make sure you guys go follow Magic, hit the like button. I didn't know he was on Sin City's stream every Tuesday, so definitely go check out Sin City and check his alpha out over there. And don't forget, I have a promo going on right now over at WeX. Let's check that out really quickly. WeX.com. Link is in the description below. I'm giving you $50 on a $100 deposit, and on top of that, I'm giving you 7 days free trial of Scalpalytics Pro. So you definitely want to sign up. Just sign up, send me your UID number to Algo at Crypto Blood. So after you create your account, go send me your UID number to Algo at Crypto Blood. I'm trying to get it on the screen here. Algo at cryptoblood.io for a free trial of the Scalpalytics Pro. We'll take a look at what trades. We got some great trades this morning. Hey, we got some great trades. House of Trades. We had some great trades this morning. Let me see if I can bring that up really quickly. Man, great move on both of them, but really, you know, Ethereum for us in the US. I tell you guys all the time, make sure to lock in, look for trades during the US trading zone, New York trading zone, 9 o'clock, 9:30ish, and like clockwork, 9:16, boom, we went long on Ethereum. took 50% of our profits right here at about 9:55, so really early in the game. And then we took another 25% at 11:45, about 15-20 minutes ago. Looking good on that trade there, my friend. Excellent trade for Ethereum, printing that money. And Bitcoin, you would have probably missed this trade, I'm gonna be honest with you, because it was even well before the UK zone at 3:30 this morning. Would have taken that long on Bitcoin at 2:05 this morning. Again, I just don't. I suggest for consistency and for longevity, look for trades during, at minimum, the UK trading zone leading up towards the New York time zone. That's when you really get your best trade. So I wouldn't have taken this trade, but still showing you what's going on. Yesterday's trade would have been triggered as well around the previous day, so it would have been triggered on Monday. So I wouldn't have taken that trade either, but we would have taken that trade on Monday 10 a.m. would have taken the long trade on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we kind of been missing them this week a little bit, but still firing on all cylinders for Ethereum. And of course, silver is going crazy right now with the Scalpalytics Pro. Or it's not really a scalping system, it's more of a swing trading. This is on the 15-minute chart. COMEX silver contract looking great. Looking great there. You can sign up at bloodalytics.com. Link is in the description below. Hey, get it before they drop interest rates. That's all I gotta say. I mean, you know the pricing, you know the policy over here. They drop interest rates, we increase prices. That's just how it goes. Who else we got in the building here? Hyman said caught the Bitcoin this morning, 94 to 97. No more for me though. I hear that, bro. Bull flag status. Bloodalytics, yes sir, printing that money. Thank you, Chikizi. Yes, awesome having my guy on with us. Magic Internet Money. Great trader, great technical trader, man. So I wanted to definitely have him on. But yeah, I would say that's it for today, ladies and gents. I will check y'all later. Again, hit that like button, share this stream, and join the Bloodalytics team. I'm out of here, people. Holla.
Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, screaming from the D, knowing what to show. Indicators are wrong point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I'm Rucker, Jerry, and just bloods do. Bad motherfucker in a good way, boo. Got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Get that money, gotta keep it creep. That's why crypto blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm looking for a new move. I know the culture of the markets like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place, you know.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Okay. Ready?
Fucking thing sucks! We'll do it live. Okay.